Welcome back to the Football Friends podcast. My name
What
is
a return.
it's Gage and Paddy here today. On to our first internet edition of the Football Friends podcast.
I was so excited. I cut you off with the intro.
I know it's been a long time, but that's okay. We've missed a little bit. It's been a month or so, something like that.
4 weeks, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, bear with us in the meantime. We are still getting used to doing this in the online format, but it's good to be back and back creating content again. Yeah, so how you been?
Yeah, been really good. Been been really joyful not having you live in my house anymore.
I
It's a
I,
whole lot quieter.
I bet. Yeah, that must be really nice.
Yeah, it's a weight off my shoulders, but not financially.
Well, look, I already told you. I pay more rent than you guys do for the whole house. So shut up.
Right.
All right. Well, we might as well get into some footballs then. It's been a long time.
Love
Okay. Do you remember what was the last thing that happened in the last episode?
I think the last thing that what happened um, was Burnley got beat by Norwich, and we said, well, you've got to sack your manager if you get beat by Norwich, but
Mm,
there's no way that Burnley are going to sack Sean Dyche because he's been there for so long and he's good at keeping them up. And then the very next day, he got sacked.
yeah.
So, big
But
wrong.
but I mean, it's sort of worked out for them, hasn't it? They're actually they're doing okay.
Yeah,
They
Mike
had
Jackson, the thriller.
yeah, they had a couple of wins. So
Yeah,
um, I mean, yeah, that relegation race or not race, I suppose, is just as hot as the title race still.
if anything, I think the relegation race has got hotter than it was before because now Leeds have been dragged into it.
Yeah, well, look, honestly, I'm happy with that. Like, if it's if Burnley and Everton claw their way out, then deserved. Everton have also been fantastic in the last few weeks, which I'm sure you don't like to hear, but I
Oh,
I
look, I like Everton being in the league because I like playing them. I like the needle. I like it. I don't care. I don't care that we haven't taken. This is the first time in about 5, 6 seasons we have taken 6 points from them, and I don't care. I like playing them,
mm. Yeah,
but
well, it's having them in the league, I suppose, is always good for the derby and stuff like that. Motivate your players really easily. Um, and Frank Lampard's kind of come right. He seems to be figuring some things out now. He managed to beat Chelsea as well too, with all his insider knowledge.
yeah. I wonder if it was that or it was just a little rollover from one or two players. No, I don't think it was that.
Hmm.
But genuinely, Everton have done well, probably done enough. Looking down at those fixtures, Leeds last two games are Brighton and Brentford, who, as we've seen from recent weeks, neither of those teams have stopped. Like um, some teams get to the end of the season and they're safe and they just sort of
Hmm.
stop caring.
Yeah, look, I don't want to talk about Brighton. It hurts too much.
Hey, why? What happened?
I don't know. Uh,
Just you just don't like him.
no, yeah, um, I've moved. I don't watch football anymore. It's just
Yeah.
look, yeah. Well, that was horrifying, to be honest. I actually didn't watch the match out of protest. It was disgusting. And I had the same expression as Ronaldo had on his face after the fourth goal. I don't know if you saw that image. It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And well, look, Man U have put themselves in a horrific position because we have to at least get a point from our last match against Crystal Palace, or West Ham may take our Europa League spot, which would be horrible. Well, that's
At
stupid.
this point, is it even a Europa League spot or is it conference?
No, it is Europa League. I think
Oh yeah, looking down the league, yes, it is. It is in fact sixth place.
Yeah, I'm not 100% about the third Europa League spot anymore. I think it might be a playoff, and so the winner goes to Europa League, loser goes to the conference. But I'm not 100% because they changed it and it it doesn't make any sense anymore. And so yeah,
Yeah,
we just have to salvage a point. I mean, and
even if you get a point, West Ham have two more games. Admittedly, one of them is against Manchester
it's
City.
yeah, look, it's Man City. I automatically assume that's a loss, but I
Yeah,
suppose if they draw and look, like draw and win or something, yeah, it could happen. But I, it's not looking like Man City's going to lose the game anytime soon.
Man City are incredible. Like I was sort of digging. How would you say? Trying to clutch at some straws to try and find like a sprinkle of hope in the darkness that they might drop points. And
Mm,
I sort of went, oh, okay, well, they played Wolves this morning, so I was looking at Wolves and I thought, okay, well, Wolves are really like this miserly team that don't give up many goals. They don't score many goals either, but they don't give up too many. They
mm.
only got beat 5-1.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
with
uh,
with four
just
goals from Kevin De Bruyne, like, oh my
yeah,
god.
that guy. I'm sure I've said it in conversation. Maybe I've not said it on the podcast. I think he's the best footballer in the world.
Oh,
De Bruyne, I think, is the best footballer on the planet.
yeah. Currently, he's definitely a strong contender. Yeah, it's and probably definitely the best player in the Premier League at least. Um,
Uh, yeah, I think he's. I mean, don't get me wrong. Mo Salah is dear to my heart, and if there's number two, then he's probably it. But
Oh well,
I,
it's not necessarily about the individual quality in this situation. It's just because De Bruyne has done it for longer. Like, he's played at the same level as Mo Salah, but just for more seasons. So
that's true.
so you just kind of have to give it to him just for that reason. So
Yeah, if it's a divider, it's that.
mm, mm. And yeah, so oh, it's a shame that we don't have Ash here because yeah, it's unfortunate that you guys did drop some points to Spurs.
Well, yeah, that's hotted up both races, both the fourth place race,
Hmm.
thing to say, and the title race, of course. To be honest, we knocked on the door all game, and we didn't put a ball in the net. Um, we didn't. I don't think we deserved to win. I think Spurs. If a team deserved to win, it probably was Spurs on the balance of
Hmm.
of everything. Um, which pisses me right off, given that they played with eight, just about 33 men behind the ball, to be honest. But
Well,
that
look,
sometimes it's what you got to do to take points from Liverpool or to
well,
take points from some games.
yeah, well, exactly. That's Conte at work, man. And he knew like a point is a win against Liverpool. So
Yeah, like
hmm,
yeah, I know that he knows that if he plays too positively, if that makes sense,
hmm,
um, he'll get beat. If they
yeah,
play on the front foot too much, like they can't play the same way they do against Norwich or Leeds as they do against Liverpool because
hmm,
they will get beat.
yeah,
And they would
definitely.
not set up the way that they did the other day against Liverpool against Norwich or Leeds. No disrespect to those clubs.
Hmm.
Um, as in because it's too negative. There's no point in doing that. Um, so yeah, it's very frustrating to drop points, but the equation remains the same roughly. It's that
Yeah.
um, we need some teams wearing claret and blue to beat Man City to do us a favour.
Hmm.
Um,
Well,
and
well,
even if West Ham, let's say West Ham beat them, um, the goal difference, the gap in goal difference is now 5.
Yeah,
I think
it is 7. It's 7 now.
it's 7. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks. Thanks, Kevin. God damn it.
yeah. So, well, did we talk about this the other day? Like, Man City were they've probably now broken the record for goals scored or something, right? Was that it?
I don't know what their record is, but
Oh, okay.
the
Maybe it's something I read. I
they've
can't remember.
scored 90. They've scored 94 this season.
Which is absurd. With and a goal difference of 72. That's just that's so absurd. But like,
It's,
it, yeah. Well, it kind of seems like they're just if Man City just win the next 2 games anyway, your draw to Spurs kind of means nothing anyway. So, and and,
yeah, it actually doesn't matter.
and it's very possible. So, uh, yeah. Well, it it kind of does. Yeah. We've kind of said it. It's looked like it's been going to be Man City the whole time, and sort of just, yeah, like you said, grasping at straws for some hope, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, that's the thing. As the season gets closer and closer, you say like, oh, okay, well, there's 7 games. Will City drop points in one of them? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Mm.
3 games left to go. Will City drop points? Seems unlikely.
Yeah, at this rate, no. And then you've got to think about the psychological impact that has on the opposition. They're, every team that versus City are now thinking like this is a loss, like immediately. Like you're that was yeah
Well,
that was the thing, like that was like a Fergie thing when he was at Man U, is that they talked about how, yeah, teams would just come in expecting a loss and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Um, my one the pieces of hope that I have to cling on to is that West Ham have been very good at home.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
And they still have something to play for. Getting into Europa League would be obviously their they have disappointment related to that competition from this year, but getting back into it obviously represents success for that club.
Yeah, well, I mean, full credit for them to do it 2 seasons in a row. It wasn't. They've proved that it wasn't just a fluke. Like it's not a one-off. They are built. They're building something, and
Yeah.
they have a really good squad. But I wanted to lead in from here because, so Man City are already this team that are, uh, dominant and scoring, almost 100 goals in the season, and so on. And now they're only going to get stronger because they're actually going to have a striker next season who
Who's going? Is it Michael Owen?
oh yeah, I mean, it's it's possibly the best striker around at the time.
Oh, who's
And
Michael Owen?
yeah. um yeah, Erling Haaland,
Oh
who
my goodness.
of course every has been on every club's radar. And where else was he going to go? He's following in the footsteps of his father, Alf Inge, and City have needed a striker. It seems it's a match made in heaven. I mean,
Yeah,
but for everyone else, it's a match made in hell. Like this is the worst thing ever. Like,
literally a football match.
what does this mean that they're going to have another 20 goals like added onto this?
150 goals.
Yeah, like it's absurd. Like that's the interesting thing, though, is since City are a team that, especially this season, have definitely shared the goals around. Does that mean Haaland might come in there and still be like maybe like a 15-goal striker just because there's so much competition for these goals, or is he going to maintain his almost 1-1 record?
I feel like that's to Pep, and we can't dive into his crazy mind because we are not Spanish mind goblins. But uh, you at the moment his best striker is Gabriel Jesus. who is not a bad striker. He's a good player, but you don't set up your team the same way with Gabriel Jesus as you do with Erling Haaland.
Mm.
Uh, and I would certainly say that for the fee that it's going to be, I don't know what that's going to be. Probably close to 100 mil.
No, no. It is 68 million pounds.
Okay, well, okay, so that much for 70 million quid. Either way, that's still a lot.
You
Um,
you know you know it's less than we paid for Fred.
what?
Yeah, there's an article I read today, and it was like, the Manchester City team are laughing because Erling Haaland was two million pounds cheaper than Man United paid for Fred.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, see, I found that funny because obviously no one's mentioning Erling Haaland's wage, which I imagine is going to be like a million a week because
I don't
when
know if it's going to be that much. Apparently, it's going to be less than De Bruyne's, which I imagine is also extremely high. But
well, I don't
but
know
yes,
though. But when you think about it, like
it,
he literally had every club offering him. So his bargaining point is the wage. So I wouldn't be surprised even if the wage itself is lower, the bonuses and all that stuff will be absurd, surely.
oh yeah, it's going to be 250k a week plus goal bonus plus whatever you want.
Look, a house and all sorts of things.
Yeah, they'll buy him a wife.
Yeah, yeah. Essential first steps.
Yeah, essential gifts.
Yeah, so I find that absolutely horrifying. I'm really not looking forward to that. Um, yeah, it's well, Bundes he is this is the hardest league he'll ever play in, so it wouldn't surprise me if maybe his numbers dip a little bit. But God, this is potential to be the next superstar. So really sucks.
Well, look, I think if this is kind of the same thing that happens with many strikers, right? And it's how you find out if they're the real biscuit or if they're not.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you know, and I know the German league is a good league, but players come from say the Dutch league, so like Suarez who tore it up, Van Nistelrooy tore it up,
Mm,
um,
mm.
Alfonso Alves tore it up. You don't know who the third guy is because he came to England and was shit.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
The
see,
first two, you know who they are because they can do it in any league and at any time.
mm. Well, that's kind of the thing. In the Bundesliga, he is that much more dominant than I mean he's putting up Lewandowski numbers, and Lewandowski is, the fine wine of strikers at the moment. He's the veteran, so that's pretty promising.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that Haaland is going the way of Alfonso Alves. I think he's going the
Mm,
way of Van Nistelrooy.
yeah.
He's obviously an incredible player. Um, physically, mentally, technically, he's just a beast.
Mm, mm.
And there's no reason that like
So we're just hoping for injuries, I guess.
honestly, I'll never hope for a player to get injured because I think that's
I,
I
I
think
mean,
that's cruel.
whatever.
I don't want it to happen, man.
It's not like it's not personal, you know. it's it's nothing personal, but it's still something that's beneficial.
Mean.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He is prone to knee injuries apparently. So who knows? But nah, come on. This is me grasping at straws for hope.
Yeah, that's damn right it is.
Yeah. So I mean, I do have another smooth transition we can go with here, unless you have something else you want to add.
Don't announce that you've got a smooth transition. Just transit.
Um,
Transit.
Well, I needed to ask if there's anything else you wanted to say, but anyway. So I mean,
Haaland? No, he's got a funny looking face.
that's for sure. Yeah, 100%. So I suppose we did see. Um, oh, I mean, even Pep couldn't have expected what happened in their Champions League game
Oh,
because that was one of the wildest matches I ever watched. And yeah, I mean, I was like messaging our group chat at the time, and uh, it certainly took me by surprise. I who would have thought that Rodrigo Goes super sub comes on and scores 2 goals after
in
the
60
90th minute.
seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think even in the chat at the time, I was like, oh, he scores the first one. I was like, oh, it's back on, and it just felt weird. And then I was like, no fucking way. Like, it just sort of it had that air about it, that this wasn't over.
Oh man, with Real Madrid, it's never over. But I love when you're watching football and the first goal goes in, and you kind of just like you look at your mate and you kind of like you feel the air, and
Mm,
then your spidey senses are tingling, and then another goal goes in later on. It's like, yes, this is
yeah.
this is on.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, and just because City just looked like they were kind of dominating that match the whole time, especially after their goal. It was
What a goal as well, Murray's.
oh yeah, I know, just ridiculous match, and then then of course yeah, it goes into extra time, and it was too late. I feel like the the crushing of the mentality after not winning it in normal time just couldn't do it. They couldn't motivate themselves to score another goal, and Real Madrid won a penalty within the first few minutes, and
And
it
nailed on penalty as well.
well, and that's it. Who else but the
Kareem the
man
Dream.
Kareem Madrid having an unbelievable season in the Champions League, uh, and actually, I only found this out just recently, that he actually offered the penalty to Rodrigo. He said, "Do you want to score? Do you want your hat trick to be against Man City in the semi?"
Jesus.
Yeah, and so I mean, how that's amazing. Like how humble is that? Like that's incredible. But if I'm glad that I'm pretty sure Rodrigo was like fuck no, I'm too scared. He's like I don't want it to be on my shoulders. But
Yeah,
then
bro.
that's
If
exactly the
I'd
kind of
scored two
player.
goals, if I'd scored 2 goals in a, I mean, first of all, if I was playing the Champions League semi-final, I'd pinch myself because I'd literally be dreaming.
Mm, mm.
But if I'd scored 2 goals and then Kareem Benzema turned to me, he's like, "Do you want the penalty, man?" I'm like, "No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yours."
Well, but that shows exactly the kind of player that Kareem is as well. That the pressure doesn't mean shit to him. He, he's in his early 30s. Like generally the end of a footballer's career, but he has got years and years of experience playing at the top level with all of the best players, and that's exactly the kind of penalty he took. He took it as cool as you like, sends Edison the wrong way, and this of course is like after he like Panenkaed one of the last ones as well.
Oh my! If he Panenka it again,
Well, that's what the commentators were saying. They were like, "Is this going to be another Panenka?" Like, because that's like the biggest dick energy of all time. but better, send him the wrong
he,
way.
he should just do only Panenkas from now on.
Yeah, yeah. So, and what a season Kareem has had. Uh, this is Kareem's first season to score 40 goals in a
Far
season.
out.
And see, this is the fascinating thing when you say like his first season for 40 goals, which is even crazier when you consider how many times Messi and Ronaldo have scored 40 goals in a season. Like I'm saying, yeah, some of the best players in the world only managed that once in their career,
Yeah,
but then they've done it like 5 times each or whatever.
yeah.
It's
One season, Messi scored 91 goals. Just remember that.
I'm sorry, what? 91?
Well, not in the league.
Yeah, yeah, all comps, obviously,
Club,
but
club, country, everything.
like in
90,
training as well.
yeah, training. His son was born, so we counted that as about 10.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, look, you're gonna. I think it was 2012, and it might have actually been calendar year,
Oh, I see. Yeah,
but
yeah.
but I don't care. That's still 12
Mm.
months of absolute ridiculousness.
Yeah, yeah. So it it's but that's the thing, man. Like, this is the best season of Kareem's life, I suppose. And he's going to be an insane threat in the final too. It's like he's probably, would you say that he is the most informed player in the world at the moment?
Um, Got to be up there, aside from maybe De Bruyne. But
De Bruyne or Mane, maybe. Like that's yeah,
yeah,
that's
well, that's it. We're bringing Mane. Thiago's in fantastic form. Our entire team is in great form.
yeah.
Real Madrid's entire team is in great form.
Well,
This is
oh,
one hell of a final.
well, yeah, yeah. We'll talk about your match your semi final in a second, but just before we move on, I was gonna say, I feel like last time we had a podcast, we were sort of repeating that this Real Madrid team is, it's like the same team from a while ago, when they were like prime, but well,
Yeah,
when we look at who was playing in that match, it's not that they have as many good young players coming through as they have veterans now. Like that match, we saw incredible stuff from players like uh, Militao and Valverde.
yeah, Valverde.
Obviously Rodrigo himself and Vinicius Junior, who is just, Vinicius Junior is a terrifying player too. Who
Oh, God.
and that's the thing. It doesn't look like they're ever gonna have that lull period where
No.
the old guard is like leaving. They're replacing everyone perfectly as they go.
Well, that's the benefit of you know being the biggest club in the world, basically. Um, Being the Death Star of football, as they are. Um, they can anyone who wants to go to Real Madrid, if they're good enough, they will go. Like Camavinga in a couple of years could be a
Oh yeah.
sensation, and not even 20 years old.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's another player who was a standout in that match. I'm pretty sure he assisted Rodrigo's first goal, or at least he made the key pass. And
yeah.
that's it. He's such a confident player, man. Subbing on for Real Madrid and just playing his game. He dictates the tempo already.
Yeah, brilliant player. You gotta love him. And then we talk about Benzema being in the prime of his career after 30.
Hmm.
What about Modric?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a Ballon d'Or winner who who won the Ballon d'Or while Messi and Ronaldo were doing their thing too. So, uh, yeah, you can't deny Modric's ability, and he was phenomenal in all the games leading up to it, and
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
yeah, very good player. Oh yeah, well, one last thing I was going to mention was that um, if you remember early on in the Champions League this season, it was oh damn it, what's his name? The striker that plays for Ajax, French guy, came from West Ham.
Messi and Haller.
Haller, yeah. He scored 10 goals in the group stage or something absurd. and
Yeah, yeah.
but then the thing was, I think Benzema didn't score too many in the group, but then by the time it got to knockouts, he's completely
He
jumped
scored
over
in
him.
every game.
Oh,
Has he
basic,
scored in every knockout game?
quite possibly. I don't have it in front of me, but he scored an absurd amount of goals, like from the group stage onwards. That it's most of his goals have been in the knockouts. That's
Couple of
how
hat tricks. Don't
that's how
worry about it.
yeah, that's how clutch he is, man. Like I said, the pressure is nothing to him.
Yeah. If anything, he likes it. He eats it.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 Well, that's where experience matters more, you know.
That's right.
And oh, and I mean, does he have? Was he there for all four Champions League wins in their recent history?
Yeah.
I think he
I think it
was.
was,
Yeah.
I think it was 3 and 4 years, wasn't it? Or
Yeah. It
was
was
it 4 and 5?
4 and 5 years. Yeah.
Jesus. That's
Absurd.
that's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. All right. Well, I suppose we should chat about the other semi final then.
Yeah, not like there wasn't enough drama in that one.
Oh yeah. See, that was the thing. I mean, this one was actually before the Real Madrid game, so the thrills and spills of this one, I was almost exhausted by the time the Real Madrid one came around.
All footballed out.
Like, okay, and so I said, I watched this game live, and honest to God, Villarreal played probably the best 45 minutes I've ever seen from a football team, and they did it to Liverpool. Like they made Liverpool look like
Children.
yeah, it was they barely Liverpool barely had the ball. Like they were so stunned because I believe the first goal came very fast, and they were so
Yeah.
stunned by that that their pass completion just went in the toilet. And that half, man, like I said to you, if they could play like that half for 90 minutes, they deserve to win the whole tournament.
Yeah. And fair enough too. Pardon me.
Because yeah, oh, yeah, that was one of the most insane halves I'd ever seen. And at the time I was messaging and like it almost looked like they deserved to win just on that half. But then it must have been one hell of a halftime talk. Uh,
I reckon he just stood there silently, like gritting his teeth for 14 and a half minutes, and then just pointed and said, "Go."
rumor has it, Klopp he was silent for a minute and he just looked at them and he said, "Lads, Man U beat this team."
Yeah. Yeah.
but but yeah, so and I think that was really it. They pressed unbelievably well. That was probably one of the best the best pressing football I've ever seen, and it just completely burned up all of their energy. And
Yeah.
Liverpool made a extremely well calculated substitute by bringing on Luis Diaz, who
Yeah.
who is also in very good form lately. And
Yes.
it's interesting how just that one, like I don't want to say it's all that one thing, but just by freeing up one part of the press, being able to break through it in one part, it just makes everything sort of fall apart slightly.
One thing I noticed when I watched the game back, and you're right, the press, their like intensity from the first half, they couldn't keep it up.
Mm,
Um, and I think something to do with it was they didn't drag Moreno off. So they led 2-0, and Gerard Moreno suffered. I think he was holding his hamstring or his quad. Look, he was
yeah,
hurt.
yeah. Mm,
He wasn't running at full beans.
mm,
And what they could have done is dragged him and put on a defensive midfielder or defender or someone else,
mm,
and maybe they would have been able to sustain that a little more. But when you press, you need 11 guys well 10 guys to do it.
mm. True,
Um,
true.
and when that drops off, it leaves, like you say, it leaves a hole here, which is then exploited by one person here, and then someone has to go to cover the hole, and then the whole thing falls apart.
Mm, mm,
Um, and then all you need is 12 crazy minutes from Liverpool to nutmeg the keeper twice, and
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, man.
then,
Really must be dreading that because he sort of he made his mistakes in previous games too, and then in that one he had
yeah.
like three in a row. That was shocking, and yeah, real
Well,
shame.
I've, it's hard to put all the blame on him on the third one because obviously, I mean, also it's the third one.
Is that
It's the
the
fifth one.
Mane one? Is that the Mane
Yeah.
one from? Yeah. Well, I don't know why he's out. I suppose they're going for broke by that point, and he's pushed really
Yeah.
high. But he is
Yeah.
so far out of position. It's
Well, the thing is, everyone came up high, and
mm,
it's his like that through ball is then his responsibility.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it's just difficult. And
mm.
of course, Mane is rapid. So if you're in a foot race against Sadio Mane, then good luck.
Well, yeah. The defender had a chance there too, but he was just too desperate. It seemed, and Mane was just so ready for it. He knew that it was going to be a reckless slide, and he anticipated it easily. So, mm,
Yeah. However, definitely the first one, he's at fault for. Fabinho knocking it through his legs. Um, and then I think the second one, Diaz scores. It's a header, and he kind of gets his hand to it. It's difficult. It's very close.
mm, yeah.
I think when you put them together, it's definitely worth at least two mistakes.
Mm.
Um, and really, obviously, won't remember the day with fond memories.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose so. I'll go into that in a second though, but I just wanted to say just before we move on, I was just going to say the post-match interview was awesome with Fabinho because
Oh yeah,
he's like I didn't want to shoot. He's like, but
yeah,
they gave me no option.
yeah. Actually, that's true. Uh, and the highlights that I watched, or the replay that I watched rather, you can the angle that it showed basically shows it from the goalkeeper's point of view, and you can see his face, and he's
Mm.
trying to pick someone out in the middle,
Yeah, he's looking
and
for
and,
Salah. Yeah,
and the pass doesn't actually like materialize.
yeah,
It's not available for him. So he's just like, fuck it, I'm gonna
mm.
kick.
Yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if because they all these teams run on statistics these days, and they probably it wouldn't surprise me if Rulli had been handed a piece of paper that said like this guy won't shoot.
This guy wants to through your legs.
Yeah, like it's because that's the thing. Fabinho doesn't shoot. He is always looking for the pass,
30
and
yards away.
but it's always a sign of something special when a player like that does something uncharacteristic, and that's the winner, like or things like that.
Yeah,
Mm. But
the
what
unpredictable.
go ahead.
No, yeah. So like he does have an unpredictability for Fabinho. He's not a defensive midfielder who just like chonks through everyone, and I mean he has the ability to do that, but he can pick a pass. He's
Mm.
got a deft touch on him as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, thumping header, thumping shot from 30 yards, or a beautiful
Mm.
nutmeg.
Yeah, yeah. So circling back a little bit, you're saying really probably it's a night to forget, but the thing was one thing I really really liked about this match was the crowd, and that like the Villarreal fans were ecstatic just to be there because of
Oh,
course
insane.
this is the furthest the club has ever gone in a European competition. They've never made it that far in the Champions League, and
Yeah,
and they celebrated like they won the fucking competition.
like
like
they won the World Cup.
like not a single person left. even after they had a red card and all those things, every fan was still there. And unlike the Real Madrid game, where there were fans leaving at like 80 minutes.
That's
Where
why
they
would you do
I know, dude. Imagine paying to go to the Champions League semi-final and like, I want to beat the traffic, like,
that? Absolutely not.
and then they're scrambling back to their seats after this. Well, the thing is, they may not even scrambled back to their seats after the first Rodrigo goal, like, because but then the second one a minute later, like, oh my god, where'd you have a chance?
Because even if you scrambled real fast, you still wouldn't have seen the Benzema penalty.
Yeah, yeah. and and so I was just so impressed with the Villarreal fans because it's a very like the stadium is absurdly large for for the population of that town, and and it was jam packed. It was like half the population or something ridiculous, and so all these players they lost and still got standing ovations. Like I can't even remember who got the red card at this point, but he got a standing ovation. Really got a standing ovation.
Yeah, yeah, that's top content if you ask me.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
I,
absolutely.
every time I hear the population of the town of Villarreal, it seems to get less and less. And I think by the time the semi final rolled around, they had a population of about 11, and they were all playing.
Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah, I think the population of the town is 50,000, and you can fit I think 35 in
Yeah.
the stadium. So they're all there. It's
Yeah,
like, are you going to the game?
I
Imagine
wasn't
being the guy who's like, are you going to the game tonight? It's like, what game?
yeah. Yeah. Didn't like I said, like I wasn't joking about 50% of the population. It was for real. Literally half like every second person. So that was
Imagine not
awesome.
liking football in that town.
Well, that was it. Like, when I bet you now there's people that started liking football just because of that match.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, they'll probably see all those players down the pub afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely mortal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
good on him. So that yeah, another final for Liverpool.
mm,
So obviously I'm stoked. Um, chance to get revenge on Madrid for a few years ago
mm.
with yeah Ramos's antics, and then what happened with Karius.
Oh,
Um,
true, true. Mm.
but of course, this time um, we have Allison, and I don't know, man. This is going to be one hell of a game. It's probably actually going to be really cagey and really difficult to watch.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes I know what you mean. Matches like this, there's so much hype that a lot of time it doesn't live up to it.
Yeah, man. So much at stake, and it's a one-off game. Often the semi-finals in the Champions League are more exciting and are more watchable from the view of the neutral um,
Mm.
than the final. But let's see.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
I've obviously got more high hopes for the state of the FA Cup, which is our next game.
Oh, yes, true.
It looks like we might be missing Fabinho from that game, and he may even um, miss the rest of the games, which would be um, which would not be good.
Mm, mm. Well,
But
I mean, that's the thing. You
I,
did Henderson even play your semi? Like it's you still have Henderson, like
yes, Henderson will fill in at defensive mid, and he'll probably do all right. But he's not Fabinho.
it's well, yeah. It's I would say that it hasn't necessarily been his season this season. Other players have sort of shined like Naby Keita and Thiago. So it's not that he is bad. It's just that the other three have been amazing. So it's
Oh no, I don't think Henderson's bad at all. I think he's
mm,
brilliant. Um, and I think when we have him on the pitch, he's he's such a leader, and our team is full of leaders. So that's it's just one
um,
more for the collection.
and yeah, and
Yeah,
a lot of time that's actually what it really comes down to is having you can't just have one leader. You got to have five more guys to take his place because anything can
11.
happen. Yeah, yeah. Mm.
Yeah,
So
yeah. My
yes,
my worry is that we don't have another player like Fabinho. We don't have another defensive midfielder built like that who does what he does.
es-
Um,
especially when you consider you'll probably be coming up against Casemiro and Valverde, two very fearsome defensive midfielders.
well, that's actually a good point that you mentioned, Casemiro, who missed out on Real Madrid's first leg with Man City, and they looked shit.
Mm. Well, they conceded four goals.
Yeah, they scored three, but
Mm.
they were not good. They were not good enough without him.
Mm.
So that's the kind of thing that can happen without a defensive midfielder.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Mm. Um,
Um,
we
yeah,
got distracted. FA Cup.
FA Cup. So that's our next game. That's this weekend. Unfortunately, in New Zealand, it's about 3:30 in the morning,
Oh, that's a bit annoying.
um,
Yeah.
which is a bit shit.
Are you going to get up
Doesn't
for
mean that. God,
it?
I really, I really want to, but who knows what will happen?
Yeah.
Um, it
It's
might just be
it's
too tiring for life, and I'll get
it,
up and watch a replay.
it's literally KGB knocking on your door time. So like it,
Yeah,
but
PPC.
and
No,
I
no,
mean it's a good time to verse Chelsea, I would say.
yeah, because aside from their game against Leeds this morning, they've been pretty turgid during this whole takeover uh,
Yeah. Mm,
operation.
yeah. And
Something about Chelsea I've heard. I know I'm tangenting here a little bit, um, but I heard if they don't seal up their takeover bid by June 8th, I think it is, they won't be allowed to compete in the Premier League.
what? That's crazy.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. Are they going to get relegated, or do they just cease to exist, or does the league continue with 19 teams? What?
Yeah.
Nothing else has been said. It's
Yeah.
just
I suppose it's never happened before.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
a huge war in which one of the owners, is
Mm. Well,
somewhat complicit. I don't know.
I have I have a feeling that it will be sorted because the way it works is like the whoever wants to buy it, they win the bid and then they have like the first right to buy it or something like that. And I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure it's gone past that stage now. So they're sort of and it could be the thing where it's like the deal was mostly done enough, but then there's still, financial things going on for years.
yeah, yeah. I imagine if the new owners say on June 7th, oh, we've nearly signed, sealed, and delivered everything. The FA probably would not be so cruel as to say, nah.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, look, Chelsea have been sanctioned not even that long ago, and they were basically let off with it. Like every time they've been sanctioned, they were sort of let off. So,
Yeah, who would
yeah,
have thought?
yeah. uh, well, and you mentioned earlier about teams that felt comfortable and got a little complacent, like because they were like, we've got third wrapped up. Like, who cares? Let's chill.
Yeah,
And and
absolutely.
and and uh, I'll talk about that next. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that they've sort of they got a bit
Would you say
complacent.
it's affected their form? Would you say it's affected their form, Gage?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And well, their form dipped so much that Timo Werner looked like a good player again, and
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
his form had a dip upwards.
yeah, yeah. So that
Even
that.
Lukaku scored.
Oh, really? Jesus. Yeah. See, I mean, yeah, he has had a torrid second half of the season. That's for sure.
Time of life.
Mm, mm. So, yeah, because like it's funny. There's such a big gap until the next Premier League game for some teams. Like our next game is the 24th of May or something. So we go like
Yeah,
it was.
you've done 37. I think
Yeah,
Manchester United are the only team that's played 37,
yeah.
whereas a couple of teams have played 35. So
Mm, mm.
Everton, I think, still have to catch up 2 games,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then the last game, yeah, it's Tottenham 35, Arsenal as well.
Oh, there's a few. Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah,
Leicester, Crystal Palace, Villa, Burnley. Yeah. Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so
what sorry, just what I wanted to say was just with Chelsea's complacency, it was like, Arsenal are like creeping up, man. They I I gotta
well,
say, as much as we shat on Arsenal at the start of the season because it was looking horrific, far out did they turn it around. Holy shit. They had
yeah,
a phenomenal season, really, considering what they're working with.
yeah, totally agreed.
Mm.
Not, um, not the greatest looking squad on paper.
Well,
But if they pull fourth out of this, full credit to Arteta.
but they pull third. Because if they've got the game in hand, and if they win, they're only 1 point behind Chelsea.
That would be hilarious.
It's absurd, right?
Imagine if Chelsea finished there.
Mm.
Okay. Spurs can't really creep above them.
It, no, it's four. Yeah, it's 4 points. It's probably not going to happen. But actually, it's pretty absurd that Arsenal have done that. They're fourth with they've scored 56 goals and conceded 42. So they have a goal difference of 14. Somehow they're fourth when Chelsea has got a goal difference of 42. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
that's ludicrous. I imagine it's probably because Chelsea's form until probably 6 or 7 weeks ago was really good.
Mm.
Um, they were keeping up with it, and it's since dropped off a cliff.
Mm.
And most of their defeats have been, 1-0, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, totally.
So it's you know,
Well, they're
um,
averaging less than conceding one goal per game. So yeah. Anyway, so we've got 10 minutes to go or so. So you had an interesting story, didn't you?
oh my goodness. So for those, and this ties in actually quite nicely with something we've talked about on the pod before. So not only is it a Scunthorpe United update, a Scupdate, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we're going to League Two here, football League Two.
Oh,
Um,
never heard of it.
going into going into the last day of the season, Northampton Town and Bristol Rovers were level on points, and Northampton Town had the superior goal difference by 4. No, so whatever happened on the last day was to determine who would be in the last promotion spot, automatic promotion spot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Northampton Town won 3-1, and old Bristol Rovers. So that means they were behind by 7.
Mm-hmm.
So Bristol Rovers only went and won 7-0
Unreal.
against Scunthorpe. Yeah, with the 7th goal coming in the 86th minute.
Oh my god.
The fans invaded the pitch and had to be encouraged by the manager and the owner to get the fuck off the pitch because the referee was threatening to cancel the game.
Oh my god.
So there's still 6 minutes of the game to go. There's still the game is not finished. So not only is it a wonderful, result that needing seven, need you know, that obviously they didn't know that Northampton would win. They didn't know that they'd need seven.
Well,
If Northampton went and won 5-0, they would need 10.
yeah.
But
Well, you've missed one key detail. It was not goal difference they won on. It was goals scored.
goals scored, and it was
Yeah.
quite comfortable as well. Like they'd scored about 15, 20 more goals than
Mm.
Northampton, but you know that game didn't half help, did it?
Yeah, yeah. Crazy, man. Look, this is what football's about, man. And some of the matches lately have just been incredible, just incredibly clutch.
Yeah. Oh look, I don't think you can tell me that there's much more clutch than needing a 7-0 win in the last game and winning 7-0.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, the games happening at the same time.
Yes.
So yeah, you wouldn't even know. Like you wouldn't even really know, I guess. But
Well, sort of. There'd be fans in the crowd with like calculators and that
yeah,
going
yeah,
like, "Oh well, nah, they're 3-1 up. Now we need another one."
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's awesome, man. That's yeah, killer.
Yeah, probably one of the most insane last days of the season. Um,
Yeah, it's hard to say like if that's the most insane result because just lately it's just been crazy.
yeah,
But yeah,
it seems like our podcast stopped and then the football world went upside down for about 4 weeks.
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe it'll continue. Maybe that's just the nature of the end of the season.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I,
but
I agree with that. Yeah.
but what a beautiful game. What a time to be alive.
Mm, absolutely.
All right.
All right, so I suppose we might as well we've got a few minutes. We might as well just wrap up. We can just chat about a couple of transfers and things that are or anything else you got.
Um, well, the only the transfer that tickled me. What's his name? So Haaland left, and about an hour later, Dortmund announced the signing of his name's Eddie Emi. I don't know what his first name is,
Oh yeah, yeah,
but
Eddie.
they
Yeah,
immediately announced a replacement.
yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, that's Dortmund. They have they have a big list of who we're signing next. Like if we sell this guy, we buy this guy. They're
Oh,
and
and on Dortmund, um, I saw a picture of Royce with Lewandowski and Goetze, and then it went just him and Goetze, and then just him, and then it was again him and Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang, and then just him and Aubameyang and just him, and then him and Sancho and Haaland, and then
mm,
just him and Haaland,
oh yeah,
and
yeah.
just on his own. Marco Royce, the Dortmund legend.
He's the only one that's really remained, I suppose. Yeah,
Oh,
because
they, they
otherwise
move players on.
they chew through them. Yeah, and this guy Eddie Emme, he seems real good. We signed from was it Leipzig or was it Salzburg? I can't 100%. It's one of those Red Bull clubs.
Yeah, he signed from Red Bull itself,
Yeah,
so he's got win.
and on Football Manager, he is like the guy to sign. He gets crazy real quick. So
I mean, there's a lot of those.
yeah, yeah. So that's pretty cool. The Dortmund onto it like that. There was actually another signing in the Bundesliga. I don't know if you heard about this one. Bayern
Go on.
Munich. Bayern Munich have acquired Mazarawi from Ajax.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. I only just heard about this today. So they've locked him down, and that's a hell of a signing, man. Because he played such an integral role in Ten Hag's system, and which is based heavily on a gig and press kind of thing. So that's another match made in heaven for Bayern Munich. And I'm a little jealous. I would, would have been really handy, but mm,
Well, yeah, but you can't complain too much when you're being linked with Frankie De Jong.
Yes, yes, I'm very, very happy about this. We have Ten Hag, of course, and a lot of players are probably really keen to play with him again. And that was, yeah, that was, Frankie played absurdly well with Ten Hag, and earning his move to Barcelona, where he played basically every minute. Uh, and then,
Do you think you'll get Van de Beek back?
go ahead, sir.
Do you think you'll get Van de Beek back?
No, we are. Yes, that's actually another part of it. Is we're going to have Van der Beek because Ten Hag knows how to use him effectively. So yeah, we're going to recycle that player and get Frankie De Jong, who unfortunately did not have the greatest season for Barcelona this season. That's kind of why the move's happening, and also because of financial restraints.
Yeah,
Quite pricey, 80 mil or something like that. So. Hmm.
it's all right. You'll get the You can use the Pogba money. Oh wait,
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because just from releasing Pogba and some other Lingard and Lee Grant and Matic and all those guys, we have $50 million in wages to to spend. Like that's how bloated our wage bill was. How
yeah,
absurd is that?
it's certainly absurd.
Yeah.
It's
So
Cavani,
and Cavani, yeah, and actually
Lingard.
that was a really sad thing with Lingard is we had our last home game and Lingard didn't even get a standing up.
Yeah,
He didn't get anything.
didn't get a run.
Like
Didn't get anything.
how shit is your club culture when a fucking homegrown player who's been there since he was like 8 years old or some shit. He gets nothing
That's
like that.
exactly what I was thinking.
Utter
Like,
utter disrespect.
how long did Wijnaldum stay at Liverpool? 5 years.
Hmm.
And on his last game, he got to be captain. And on his last before the game, he got like presented with a special jersey and a plaque with
Yeah,
some
I know.
Liverpool stuff on it. It was great.
Look, man. Yeah, that
And United can't give this guy shit who's
yeah.
been at the club literally his entire life.
I know. It says it all. It's really disappointing. And yeah, yeah. Certainly time to a few things need to be fixed. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Mm,
club culture first and foremost. I think there's some decent players in United ranks.
mm,
Um, a coach would be good,
mm.
but
Yeah.
club culture there is has definitely suffered.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, and Mourinho commented on this the other day. Mourinho was like, I wasn't joking when I said my greatest achievement was coming second with Man United. You don't know what it was like behind the scenes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
like,
look, if there's not a better way to finish the show than with a quote from Jose Mourinho,
yeah,
then I don't know it.
yeah,
What a
absolutely.
man.
Yeah, my computer's starting to shit itself anyway, so it seems like a good chance. All right, well, thanks for tuning in for the return of the Football Friends podcast. Hopefully, we'll be getting back into this more regularly again, providing my computer doesn't explode. Uh, yeah, so like and subscribe, tell your friends, and so on, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks everybody, and see you next time.